because when you look at it, you see that its core is made of limestone, enormous limestone blocks in the range of 50 to 100 tons each, maybe more.
From a strange object jutting out of an ancient Egyptian tunnel to an unexpected chain of events that left even the experts speechless, this discovery turned out to be far more mysterious than anyone could have imagined. What started as a routine excavation quickly spiraled into a baffling encounter, leaving workers and archaeologists scrambling for answers. Join us as we unravel the shocking details behind this bizarre tunnel, find that no one saw coming. Let's dive in. Strange new artifact. The land of the pharaohs has been a focal point of interest to researchers and historians for centuries. Every year, new discoveries are made by the Egyptologists and the people of Egypt, which helps in understanding the unknown facts of their ancestors. But once in a blue moon, we get a find which only serves to open up more questions, rather than provide answers. This was not the only such find that recently took place during the construction works near Luxor, where employees saw something strange protruding out of an ancient Egyptian tunnel. And what happened next was something that nobody could ever imagine. The tunnel, which has been closed for centuries by sand and stone, had been a part of a continuous restoration project to open up forgotten corridors that led to the grave of a relatively unknown nobleman. Tackling the wreckage, one of the workers noticed a peculiar metallic object sticking out of the wall. At first, they thought it was a piece of machinery that had malfunctioned and was now useless. But when they got up close, this thing was not man-made, at least not from where they were standing. The workers informed the supervising archaeologist, Dr. Ahmed El-Mahdi, who ensured that the item was pulled out carefully. It was a small, cylindrical-shaped object which has never been seen before in the tomb of any Egyptian pharaoh. More confusing, though, was its state of preservation. Everything in its vicinity had withered away with time, but this piece was as if it was left there yesterday. What happened next was rather surprising when they took it under the light. It began to glow, a bluish hue. Some of the crew ran in horror while the others, including Dr. El-Mahdi, stayed behind. A few minutes later, the device came to a halt, and the light went off. However, what it left behind was even more puzzling, an almost three-dimensional holographic surface. Dr. El-Mahdi, who had spent his life studying Egypt's past, was astonished. "It's as if the face is alive," he said in disbelief. "These are not mere carvings. They move, they breathe." Some of the workers swore they saw one of the figures reach out, as though trying to communicate. Several of the workers who witnessed the event have since refused to talk about what they saw, with one claiming that strange men visited his home and warned him to stay quiet.
We're now at Tanis, which is located in the Nile Delta of northern Egypt. And again, this is quartzite, and notice the powerful heat effect on the right-hand side.
Despite these events, a few leaked videos of the incident have surfaced online, sparking widespread debate. Some suggest the object is of extraterrestrial origin, while others believe it may be an advanced form of ancient technology, long lost to history. Either way, the find has captivated the imagination of people worldwide. As one online user remarked, "If this is real, it could change everything we know about ancient Egypt." Still, skeptics remain, arguing that the device is a sophisticated hoax. One historian pointed out that no known Egyptian texts mention such an object, but the truth remains elusive with the site now under strict control. Those who were there, however, believe this is only the beginning of a much larger mystery buried beneath Egypt's sands. One user remarked, "I've been to Egypt, and something about it just feels off. During a tour, we were told how these structures were made, but it doesn't seem to add up. It feels like a large part of history is being hidden from us." After speaking with locals, it seems that many of these artifacts are intentionally kept from the public. Others were equally captivated, with one individual saying, "It could be a fake, but how would someone even create something like this? It's remarkable." Still, skeptics weighed in, with one person commenting, "These are easy to replicate. I can't do it myself, but others certainly can." To me, it looks like an inverted Egyptian sculpture. Curiosity led some to search for more information or similar objects. However, attempts to find references to inverted Egyptian sculptures yielded no results. While this doesn't conclusively prove the artifact's authenticity, it remains an enigma, as nothing quite like it has surfaced elsewhere. People are still debating whether this artifact is the real deal. The Saqqara necropolis. A fascinating discovery was recently made in the realm of Egyptian hieroglyphs, adding yet another layer to the rich tapestry of ancient Egyptian culture. For decades, a team of Polish archaeologists has been meticulously excavating the Saqqara necropolis, located in the ancient capital of Memphis.
This site once served as the Egyptian capital. Back then it was called Memphis. Today it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and home to the oldest pyramid known, with over a dozen points of interest within the complex.
This site, known for its grand and ornate tombs, was reserved for Egypt's royalty and filled with treasures and symbols of status. In September 2018, a nearby excavation unearthed something unusual. Egyptologists were conducting a dig between the Pyramid of Djoser, the world's oldest pyramid, and a rectangular dry moat that surrounds it. Typically, tombs of royalty or other high-ranking individuals are adorned with valuable grave goods and often inscribed with hieroglyphics that detail their importance and identity. Hieroglyphs, the ancient written language of Egypt, have existed since around the 32nd century BC, with the first complete sentences appearing in the 20th century BC. This complex script, consisting of over 1,000 unique characters, has allowed researchers to decode vast amounts of information about the lives and legacies of the individuals buried in these tombs. However, what they found near Djoser was far from the typical royal tomb. The team stumbled upon around 500 simple burials, starkly different from the elaborate tombs of kings and queens. These graves lacked the precision and grandeur of royal burials and were described as rough, even clumsy. Researchers speculated that this might have been a burial site for middle or working-class people. The embalming techniques were rudimentary, with bodies laid directly in pits or decayed wooden coffins. Many of these coffins had been raided by looters, but one remained in a condition good enough to examine. What set this particular coffin apart were the markings on its lid, where the name of the deceased would typically be written. However, instead of recognizable hieroglyphics, there were nonsensical symbols, imitation hieroglyphs that made no sense. Experts theorized that the person who painted these markings was likely illiterate, simply copying glyphs they had seen before without understanding their meaning. Additionally, the figures of Anubis, the protector of the dead, were painted blue instead of his traditional black. The researchers described this artistic effort as beautifully clumsy. Despite the simplicity of these burials, some scholars believe they show that even ordinary Egyptians followed the same deeply religious burial practices as their royal counterparts. It's possible that families of modest means mimicked the elaborate funerals of the elite, even if they didn't fully comprehend the symbols and rituals. The mummification process and grand tombs were believed to secure a prosperous afterlife, and perhaps these individuals were striving to provide their loved ones with a similar fate. Whether through intricate rituals or humble offerings, ancient Egyptians, regardless of class, seemed to share a profound hope for a glorious afterlife. Government involvement. The Central Intelligence Agency has long been linked to a variety of secretive and controversial experiments, many of which have gradually come to light through various media channels and declassified documents. In the relentless pursuit of knowledge, it's not uncommon for researchers and scientists to stretch the boundaries of ethical considerations, all in the name of potential breakthroughs in medicine or technology. While some of these experiments may have resulted in significant advances, others have raised serious ethical concerns. The revelation that some of these questionable activities were conducted within private institutions and universities across the United States has fueled public curiosity about what else may have taken place behind closed doors. Throughout its history, the CIA has been associated with a range of morally ambiguous decisions, questionable activities, and secretive experiments that border on the outlandish. Every time new information is declassified, it seems to shed light on yet another bizarre or hard-to-justify project, revealing just how far the agency was willing to go in its efforts to gather intelligence and explore the unknown. One such case that stands out is a peculiar anomaly spotted in the mountains. During a flyover in 1949, a United States Air Force spy plane captured several photos of what appeared to be a strange patch of ice on Mount Ararat. This anomaly sparked significant interest within the CIA, and for years, the agency quietly investigated the phenomenon. The focus of their investigation was to determine if this could be a significant discovery related to biblical history, specifically Noah's Ark. The case was formally known as the Noah's Ark of Mount Ararat, and classified documents indicate that the CIA spent more than 2 decades studying the images, but were unable to reach a definitive conclusion about the nature of the structure. The existence of these files came to light in 2006 when Professor Portra Taylor submitted a Freedom of Information request. He aimed to uncover more detailed imagery and data related to the mountain anomaly. In an interview with Space.com, Taylor expressed his belief that the object could be a man-made structure, potentially of biblical importance. He described his efforts as a satellite archaeological project, and remained hopeful that further declassified imagery would reveal more about the mysterious object. Despite Taylor's optimism, the CIA maintained that the anomaly was nothing more than glacier ice beneath layers of snow. However, not everyone was convinced by the agency's explanation, pointing to the CIA's history of withholding or manipulating information. Interestingly, some researchers and archaeologists have since backed the idea that a great flood, as described in the story of Noah's Ark, may have actually occurred. The tale of Noah's Ark is one that has persisted through generations, describing how Noah was commanded to build a massive vessel to save pairs of animals from a devastating flood. Although many see the story as a myth, underwater archaeological discoveries in recent years have lent some credence to the possibility of a historical flood event. One such discovery took place off the coast of Turkey, where traces of ancient civilizations, believed to date back to the time of Noah, were found submerged beneath the sea. What makes this more compelling is that various ancient cultures from different regions have recorded stories of a great flood. These accounts, together with the modern scientific evidence, reveal that if the flood was not as terrible as described in the holy books, then it could well have been a regional disaster like the flood that filled the Black Sea basin. It is believed that through the study of the physical climate, researchers have postulated that around 7,000 years ago, sea levels in this region might have risen, hence sinking cities, hence the myths of the Great Flood. Issues of the caliber of this flood, whether perennial or cyclical, have remained unanswered due to continuous debate. Some pictures shot in the recent past of the region that is near Mount Ararat have only added to the mystery of what might be lurking beneath the glacier. According to some theories, the remains of several boats, including Noah's Ark, can be preserved there. The advocates of this theory suggest that the climatic conditions on the mountain serve to preserve some of these early structures. Nevertheless, Mount Ararat offers several obstacles to the concept of the discovery of Noah's Ark. First of all, the mountain is a stratovolcano, which means it is built up by layers of lava, solidified, and volcanic ash. Researchers also suggest that at over 16,000 feet in height, there could not have been enough water in a flood to reach that height. Moreover, there is no doubt that a volcanic eruption occurred in 1840, which covered this mountain, and its adjacent areas with ash that would have reduced any wooden structures that might have been in existence at that time. Some researchers have also asked if even if the wooden structure was there, it could have withstood the severe conditions on the mountain, including volcanic eruptions. This is the general consensus of opinion among scholars today. There is no way that Noah's Ark can be found on Mount Ararat today. However, some people still believe. They think that there is a possibility that this volcanic eruption has saved the Ark. In fact, a team of researchers once claimed they found solid evidence of the Ark in the form of wooden fragments discovered within the anomaly on the mountain. They argued that radiocarbon dating showed the wood was over 4,800 years old, potentially aligning with the time period of Noah's story. Despite these claims, the discovery has not been universally accepted, and skepticism remains high. Whether or not Noah's Ark will ever be discovered, the legend continues to captivate both scientists and the public. Mount Ararat, with its challenging terrain and mysterious past, serves as a constant reminder of how much is still unknown about our ancient history. While the search for definitive proof of Noah's Ark continues, it's clear that the mountain and its surrounding region will remain the focus of archaeological curiosity for years to come. Strange objects from space. The International Space Station is a marvel of engineering, offering humanity a unique view of Earth through its high-definition cameras. These live feeds, accessible on NASA's website, allow people worldwide to watch Earth's orbit in real time. However, not everything seen from the ISS is easy to explain. Recently, an unusual object appeared during a live stream, quickly drawing attention and sparking conversation on social media. A user who posted the image claimed to have noticed the object earlier in the day. The object was visible for around 10 seconds before disappearing. Due to the ISS's fast orbit, there wasn't enough time for close inspection, so the user captured a quick screenshot. While not claiming the object was extraordinary, they were curious if others had seen it. NASA has long noted that space debris is often picked up by ISS cameras, but this particular sighting didn't seem like typical debris. Some viewers even compared it to Oumuamua, the interstellar object spotted in 2017. Far more interesting is the fact that this is not the only case. Several of the ISS's faithful followers of the live stream have claimed to have observed objects of similar shape around the station in the past years. These sightings often spark debate, as the objects don't remain visible long enough to be properly analyzed. While skeptics suggest these could be leftover rocket components or fragments of old space missions, others argue that these objects seem to behave in ways unlike standard debris, as if capable of maneuvering in space. At this point, the true nature of these objects remains uncertain, and speculation continues about what they might be and how they are capable of moving in such unpredictable ways. The ISS, it seems, is no stranger to odd occurrences. One of the most unnerving incidents involving the space station took place during a spacewalk in 2013. During a planned spacewalk in July 2013, astronauts Chris Cassidy from the United States and Luca Parmitano from Italy were tasked with conducting maintenance on the station's exterior. The mission had been progressing smoothly until Parmitano reported feeling something unusual. The back of his head felt wet. In the microgravity of space, water behaves very differently compared to Earth. Rather than falling, it clings to surfaces, creating the potential for a life-threatening situation if water builds up inside an astronaut's helmet. At first, Parmitano thought the water had come from a leak in his drinking bag, a common tool astronauts carry during long spacewalks. Realizing the danger, Flight Director David Korff ordered Parmitano to abort the spacewalk and return to the airlock as soon as possible. The situation escalated quickly. As Parmitano tried to make his way back, the water crept over his eyes, leaving him effectively blind. However, thanks to his hard work and determination, Parmitano was able to make it to the airlock, even if faced with overwhelming obstacles, including getting lost in space. His safe return is clear evidence of the kind of preparation astronauts have to undergo when they develop such calamities. NASA initiated an intensive probe on what led to the accumulation of water in the suit that Parmitano wore back inside the space station. At first, it was thought that the drink bag was at fault, but after examination, it was discovered that it was in perfect condition. Engineers also looked at the cooling system of the spacesuit, and there was no problem found in that area as well. The mystery of water accumulation has not been solved yet, though several hypotheses have been made. This incident highlights the fact that space adventure is full of hazards and rather unpredictable. In this light, space is not an easy environment to operate in despite having the best technology and planning. A slight hitch is deadly. The flight director realized that Parmitano's life was at serious risk, and the team made the urgent decision to abort the spacewalk and get him back inside the space station as quickly as possible. As Parmitano tried to make his way back to the airlock, the severity of the situation escalated. Luckily, the astronauts go through training exercises for such surprise incidences or emergencies. Despite being blind and disoriented, Parmitano was able to crawl back to the airlock with the help of the ledges and ladders fixed on the outer side of the station. But even once the astronauts were safely inside the ISS, Parmitano's troubles were far from over. The team then embarked on trying to establish the reason as to why there was water accumulation. First of all attention was paid to the drink bag. However, further investigation showed that it was not at all torn, which excluded the most basic scenario. After that, the engineers speculated that the failure of the cooling system of the suit might have caused it. However, no problem with the cooling system could be detected even after a careful examination of the vehicle in question. That the cause of the water accumulation could not be identified rendered the event mysterious. Some hypotheses were developed, but none of them were conclusive. This occurrence not only proved the fact that there are still many unknowns regarding space exploration, but also the fact that astronauts are always in danger every time they come out of the safety of the space station. Even today, when people wear spacesuits, go to space with well-equipped shuttles, and have numerous pieces of equipment at their disposal, space is an environment in which any deviation from the norm can rapidly turn deadly. This led to a subsequent detailed analysis of all the spacesuit designs and of the spacewalk procedures in a bid to prevent a similar event in the future. Sunken Temple. The discovery of Thonis Heraklion, a sunken Egyptian city, is one of the most mysterious and thrilling finds in recent history. Hidden beneath the waters of the Mediterranean for over 1,000 years, this legendary city was thought to be lost to time. It wasn't until 2000 that Frank Gaudio and his team of underwater archaeologists unearthed the submerged remains, sparking immense intrigue. Thonis Heraklion, once Egypt's most significant port, served as a bustling hub of trade, ritual, and political activity. Its sudden disappearance around the 8th century, following earthquakes, rising waters, and tidal waves, added to its enigmatic nature. One of the most profound discoveries during recent excavations was the unearthing of the Sunken Temple of Amun. This temple, of great importance to ancient Egyptians, was the site where pharaohs were ceremonially blessed as they ascended to power. The treasure hidden within the temple's depths is nothing short of astonishing. Artifacts made of gold and silver, as well as rare symbols such as the Djed pillar, crafted from lapis lazuli, were found intact despite the catastrophic forces that sank the city. These relics not only symbolize wealth but also carry deep religious significance, as they were used in rituals involving the gods and the ruling class. Adding to the temple's mystique were the findings of ancient Greek artifacts, including a temple to Aphrodite and a cache of Greek weapons. The presence of these foreign objects shows how the city served as a cultural and political melting pot, where Egyptian and Greek influences intertwined. Thonis Heraklion's role as a major Mediterranean port before the rise of Alexandria highlights its global significance in the ancient world. Yet, not all the discoveries glittered with gold. Some of the most fascinating finds were the wooden structures wrapped in papyrus, dating back to around 500 BC. These humble remnants, hidden beneath the temple, and invisible to most even in their time, reveal the meticulous architecture that supported this once vibrant city. The fact that these structures survived, alongside delicate containers of alabaster used for perfumes and rare silver plates, speaks to the magnitude of this preservation underwater. Gaudio's reaction to these discoveries reveals how emotionally charged this excavation was. To unearth objects that had been concealed from view for centuries, particularly in a city where myth and history have long overlapped, is nothing short of extraordinary. The sense of awe felt by the archaeologists echoes that of the ancient Egyptians, who revered Thonis Heraklion as a sacred space. While many archaeological sites offer a window into the past, few compare to the mystery of Thonis Heraklion, a city once thought to exist only in legend. The discoveries made in its waters suggest that ancient Egypt still holds many secrets, waiting to be revealed by those brave enough to explore its hidden depths. Egyptian mass burial site. For this next mysterious discovery, we turn to the northern Mediterranean coast of Egypt, where archaeologists have made an exciting find in the city of New Damietta. This ancient port city continues to reveal its secrets, and what was recently unearthed has left even seasoned researchers astonished. An Egyptian archaeological mission affirmed by the Supreme Council of Antiquities announced the discovery of 63 mud brick tombs at the Tel El Deir necropolis, belonging to the late period of ancient Egypt. Among these tombs, there was one that was distinguished. This was a large grave complex that was attributed to people of the superior class. In the interior, archaeologists discovered a series of gorgeous gold foils in the form of religious images and geometric shapes, as well as other superior funeral artifacts. Compounding the mystery, the archaeology team found a pottery jug with more than 40 bronze coins dated to the Ptolemaic period, as well as ceramics made in the region and others imported from other regions. From these discoveries, the huge trade relations between ancient Damietta and other coastal settlements made this city an important commercial center during the Ptolemaic period, which started after the death of Alexander the Great and the conquest of Egypt. In the words of Mohammed Ismail Khaled, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, this discovery underlines the significance of Damietta as a foreign trade center in the different historical periods. At the beginning of this month, more findings along the Nile close to Aswan exposed more secrets in the bosom of the Nile, and thus more mystery of Egyptians' past. Every time something new is found, it not only reveals archaeological treasures, but also increases the enigma of the missing Egyptian civilization. These discoveries in New Damietta therefore simply add another piece to the already endless jigsaw puzzle of Egypt's history, and there is more to be discovered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.